right, I'm going to call the annual tax rate hearing of the to order on September 17th. Can I have a motion on the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you, Wes.
Second.
Thank you, Ralph. All those in favor say aye.
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 Great. So our annual tax rate hearing is now underway. Chris, if you're going to present the information, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Let me get the presentation started here. Okay, so this is the time of year when the school district, as a taxing authority, goes about setting our tax rate that we'll use to collect the revenue from which we will operate and pay our bonded indebtedness over the course of the fiscal year. So just a few highlights here regarding assessed valuation. Of course, the revenue that we generate is based on the assessed valuation of the properties in the area, both residential and commercial, as well as personal property. So this year, this tax year, residential assessed valuation is up slightly, $173,500 from the prior year. Commercial assessed valuation is up even slightly less than that at $93,200. You can see those are just portions of a percent. The assessed valuation of new construction, improvements, and new personal property tax for 2020 is $2.4 million, which is actually a significant decrease from the prior year. New construction and improvements and personal property will generate approximately $150,000 for operations. So this is a non-assessment year, which means the only growth that we are allowed to realize is from new construction, improvements, and personal property. Next year will be a reassessment year, and that will be our growth will be based solely on the changes in assessed valuation. So taking a look at this assessed valuation comparison from the prior year, I will tell you that these numbers are net of new construction. So they do include the TIF values. So I've got another slide that'll break this down just a little bit further for you. All right, so the post Board of Equalization numbers on assessed valuation for residential real estate is $220.8 million, which is a slight increase, as we discussed earlier, $173,500. Commercial, likewise at $93,200 increase, for an overall increase in assessed valuation of combined residential and commercial of $266,780. Personal property, we did see a significant decline, and merchant manufacturer was just a bit of an increase. All in all, $172,200 in increased assessed valuation, as indicated in the narrative above. Okay, so these numbers are net of TIF. Of course, the these taxing instruments remove the taxes from the assessed valuation from the assessed valuation calculations. So just for the 2020 tax year, you'll see that $620,000 of residential has been removed. Commercial is $16 million. So net of TIFs, we are $221.4 million, plus our new construction of $886,000, for an adjusted overall residential assessed valuation of $220.5 million. Commercial, net of TIF and new construction, we have $88.5 million. So you can see that Maplewood and Richmond Heights, at least in our taxing authority, is solely supported by the residential side of our community. Personal property, again, at $35.2 million for an overall adjusted assessed valuation of just a little shy of $350 million. When we look at the actual tax rates from last year to this year, we see that the residential rate has declined slightly by 1 penny. Commercial has increased by ever so slightly. Personal property stays the same. The blended rate, there's a bit of a correction there on the blended rate. And debt service remains the same as we promised our voters at $1.35. So when it comes to the current year rates, our tax rate ceiling on the residential side is $4.65. And then you'll remember that last year we took into account, we started doing a recoupment that we said we would do over 3 years. So this year's recoupment is just a little over 2 cents for a total of $4.08. And then debt service is $1.35 as mentioned earlier. So on the commercial side, we have 4.5823 on the tax rate ceiling. And by law, this recoupment allows us to exceed our tax rate ceiling. And we're doing so by just under 15 cents on the commercial side. Personal property remains the same. All of those numbers will generate $15.4 million in revenue for operations. And you'll notice the line below is what we had budgeted. So we came very close to our budgeted revenue targets. We will be doing a budget adjustment to realize that additional budgeted revenue next month. Debt service, a slight increase there. We also came very close to budgeting the debt service numbers correctly. Overall, our increase from 2019 on the operations side for fiscal 20 is $754,000, and debt service will generate about an additional $200,000. So we are assuming a 98.5% collection rate for an overall revenue of $19.8 million. Okay, what are your questions? Okay, if there are none, the next steps for us is to get our pro forma and the resolution that you'll approve this evening sent to county collector, and we will get the tax rates into them and certified, and then they'll commence with their billing.
I would like to say to Chris and the entire team, thank you so much for your clear and concise presentation. And due to the global pandemic, you are busier than anything with all the hats that you have. So I appreciate you being so on it with everything that you're doing here. So thank you, Chris, and your team.
Thank you for saying that. We do it happily. It's quite fulfilling work to know that the work we're doing every day is assuring that we have the financial means to do what we need to do, get our children ready for their next steps.
Great. Well, I appreciate the presentation and the detailed information on the agenda. If we're ready, we can move to action item for the tax rate.
Keep in mind, it's a pretty long recommended action there, so choose wisely if you are volunteering.
Can I have a motion?
I move to approve the tax rates as submitted.
Second.
And Ralph? Maria's got that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Tax rate motion passes. Motion to adjourn the tax rate hearing?
Move to adjourn the tax rate hearing.
Thank you, Nikki.
Second.
Thank you, Ralph. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right. folks. See you at 7.
See you in a few minutes, folks.
All righty.
Thank you.